Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. I am here in the Great White North and still I have to hear so much about some Democrat from Arizona named Kyrsten Sinema. Now, I first remember hearing about Kyrsten Sinema back when she did the super fancy "I'ma vote no and make sure Mitch McConnell sees me." And yeah, that was super egregious, but at the same time, there's another part of the current story that I'll get to in a hot second. I just want to quickly touch on some of where this came from. So Sinema did that, and she is also supposedly a progressive and was very much a kind of dark horse, if you want to call it that, candidate for the Democrats in Arizona. And I'm not like other Democrats. Well, yeah, we're apparently finding that out now because this woman, along with this Joe Manchin guy, are basically Republicans in Democrat clothing. People have gone and dug up a lot of Sinema's old tweets showing that she campaigned on being a very left-wing progressive, except has not delivered on that in her time in Congress. To the point that she and this Manchin guy are the two people single-handedly withholding the passage of an aid bill that would help millions upon millions of Americans. And she has the gall to complain about people targeting her while she's off, apparently, at some kind of spa retreat weekend hullabaloo thing where you have to pay nearly $6,000 to get in order to try and bribe her, which is why all the people going are big pharma and oil execs. I wonder how she's voting or how she's decided to vote on the past on issues relating to these two very clear and obvious lobbying influences. And so that's where there's a bit of clickbait going on here because, yes, we're talking about Kyrsten Sinema, and she is definitely a bad person as far as we can tell. But the actual crux of what I want to get to is something that the media continues to refuse to talk about with regards to Sinema, Joe Manchin, or really any politician in general in the United States, let alone any predominantly Western country. The greatest trick that capitalists in the West pulled was convincing us that lobbying was something completely different from corruption. When we talk about foreign countries from Latin America, Africa, many parts of Asia, Eastern Europe even, we love to talk about, oh, they are so corrupt. Look, the head of some kind of car manufacturing place was schmoozing and boozing with this guy who's the head of infrastructure in the government. Oh, so corrupt. This is why we can't finance you. Meanwhile, even in places like here in Canada, government will send their ministers to meet with bank leaders and oil and gas executives or vice presidents of companies to hammer out the details of what a post-pandemic recovery looks like. That's not corruption. That is merely planning and taking a advanced step towards progress and doing the work that needs to be done for what comes after this pandemic. We're being productive. It's not corruption when one of our premiers meets with a lumber mill executive or banking executives or a huge collection of business owners, big business owners. And they go to one of our super fancy hotels somewhere nice. And then a few weeks to a month later, we get word that, oh, there's some new legislation that magically benefits these people. Totally not connected at all. They call this lobbying, but what it really is state-sanctioned attempts at open invitation for corruption. And amidst all the terrible, awful, disgusting news about Sinema and Joe Manchin and all the viral things like Joe Manchin on his boat and the flouncy Sinema down vote and, oh, geez, look at her, what a hypocrite, going off into the desert. You got to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to talk to her and basically bribe her on positions. Yeah, this is all terrible. Can we call it what it is? This is blatant corruption of the political class, and it's out in the open, and the supposed fifth estate of the media that is supposed to report on these findings and help hold our governments accountable are refusing to state the obvious that apparently needs to be stated. Our systems and politicians are bought and paid for by big greedy capitalist bastards. That's what the story should be. That's what the viral headlines and talking points should be. But they aren't, and that is what's bothering me today.